got it. All right. Assalamu alaikum, guys. Welcome to another episode of Ummah in Exile. Today's topic is regarding AI and just kind of its implications in terms of the Islamic lens. Because this is a topic that really affects us all. We're all on our phones. We're all on our laptops at work. We're all interconnected on the web in some way. So that connection can be abused. And there are multiple tools that can potentially be abused as well. So we also have a guest here today with us who is a wizard when it comes to AI, hence the reason why we wanted to come and have him on the topic. So please, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, what you do and everything.
I'm Andrew Athanasopoulos. Right now, my current focus is just building out AI. So automations, LLMs, full stack integrations, anything that's developed in the web, I can pretty much build websites, softwares, any kind of infrastructure. So how do you want to open this up?
So I think the first question I kind of want to pose to both of you, again, with the tech side of things in mind, and then with also this like spiritualness in mind, and then obviously with the combination of the two kind of meshing, I want to ask the first question of, and kind of the first topic for the viewers is, what is AI to both of you? How would you guys define it? And maybe I might jump in as well.
I'm going to let him take the lead on it first.
It's a lot, truly. Where do I begin? AI is so much. Let's start with this. AI in the workspace completely evolved everything. Just the AI in everyday life. How we went from horses to cars, now we're going from human labor to AI labor. That's pretty much how you have to see it. This is a very big thing. It literally was going from a horse to a car. Obviously, you go from a horse to a car, humans start to become a little lazier. Mm-hmm. In the advancements of technology, humans start to become a little lazier. Same thing with AI. I want to say, collection of data, any kind of collection of intelligence. Think of AI as just a huge collection of intelligence that can perform tasks. So LLMs, large language models, think of that as a library, and now instead of a human going in a library and spending maybe 20 to 30 minutes looking for a book, you can just kind of type whatever you want to learn and you get that feedback.
But how is that different from Google or search engines? Is AI glorified search engine? It's not, right? It's
just an LLM. It could be like a glorified search engine. You go on Google and maybe you want to look up pest control, and now you have all these pest control websites.
Right.
All right. Now you go on to an LLM, and maybe because before Google wouldn't teach you what pest control is. Well, now AI will explain to you what pest control is. It'll give you all the best service providers. Mm-hmm. Google, there's a lot of SEO. So now, since it is just a glorified search engine, there is now SEO on LLMs. So always
search engine optimization, right?
Now it's just LLM optimization.
Okay.
So your knowledge the knowledge you get from LLMs could be paid for. Workforce, so automations, agents, any kind of web interface. Humans used to have to build emails. Humans used to have to do research. You would have personal assistants. This is all just replaced by AI. Orchestrated by the LLM. The LLM just has web interface now. Now it's replacing white collar jobs, which is to some people scary for their jobs. It gets scarier when it gets into maybe a blue collar job, when you're putting this intelligence into some kind of robotics. So I was driving on the highway the other day and I see some just automatic lawnmower mowing the entire side of the highway, all the grass. There was no human. It was just an LLM navigating this lawnmower. You could have a drone. Automated drones. You could have robotics. Any kind of robotics. So there's a lot of Chinese developers right now in China. I see a lot of videos of them just building human-like robots. Imagine if you integrate that into maybe like a police force or some kind of unified militia. I'm sure you can see the scare in that.
It doesn't think, it just acts, essentially.
It just
based
acts.
on data.
Yeah, based off of its promptings.
I think this is a key topic of discussion. Is intelligence consciousness, right? Because AI, I mean, you could argue actually that they've already developed a technology of AI that can think, that is thinking the same as feeling, and is thinking the same as soul, is thinking the same as a spiritual, almost like divine projection into a being, right?
Yeah.
That's a big question, in my opinion. When we analyze AI, as Andrew was describing everything, what was coming to my mind was, what kind of revolution are we entering upon? Because every new age brings a new revolution. Every new age brings a new social adaptation, and oftentimes I'd argue that society and innovation moves faster than wisdom. And when that happens, it leaves us very vulnerable as human beings to spiritual attacks and manipulation.
All humans are going to get dumber from here, and the dumber people are just going to become dumber, and the smarter people are only going to become smarter with AI. Like
so there's a wealth inequality that's developing from AI, right? Because the people who have control of the resources, the people who have control of the systems, are integrating them to generate them more wealth, and the people being impacted are these blue-collar salary jobs that are being put out of work. White-collar, right, people making a paycheck, basically, right? On top of that, it's creating intellect disparity. So now, would you say AI is deepening inequality in society?
Or
is it leveling the field? Because now it's accessible to people and, all that stuff.
I'll explain it like this. When the government has to give out jobs, that's when we're truly screwed. When the government has to give a job to you. So it's replacing white collar, blue collar. When it gets to that point and now there's a mass revolution of jobs and the government starts handing out jobs, that's when we have a problem. Another thing, we have phones. How long have we had phones?
A couple decades at least.
We've had
40 years.
Mass abundance of knowledge on our fingertips, and people still scroll TikTok all day instead of learning some new skills. You can learn anything you want on the internet. You can learn anything you want. It's like a double-edged sword. It hurts you, but it can also be your best friend. So we will certainly have a revolution where we have people protesting or striking, maybe even like attacking because they can't get a job. Or that might not be the case because they're replaced. Their intelligence has been replaced, and they don't probably have the confidence to go do that, or they might not have the ability to even just go about doing that.
Or they're neutered.
They're neutered. They're neutered in a way. The government also, I mean, it's not like the government can't pay people to sit on their butts all day.
It can.
It can.
Because it's an infinite loophole of debt. The government can just print and generate money at will, create, what's it called? There's a word for this. There's a term for this. Universal income.
Yeah.
Universal basic income.
Basic universal income. That's right.
Now, for some people, that might be a good thing. Some people want to sit on their butts all day, but it's also we're gonna go into a new age because now humans have to find like a purpose. Because before, people's purposes were attached to their jobs or like what they do. Now, when everything is done by AI, what's the point of you? What's the point of you? Like, what are you going to do? What's your purpose? So we're going to have purposeless people just wandering, sitting on their butts all day because AI does everything. I only truly.
Is that where we're headed?
Yeah, we're going to be in a state of life where the rich only get richer and the poor truly become poorer. I truly think there's not going to be like a middle class in about 10 to 15 years. It's either you're going to have
a lot or nothing.
Yeah, a lot or nothing. And
you'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
That's their goal.
Whose motto is that? Does anybody know whose motto that is?
JEW?
The WEF, the World Economic Forum.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
You'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
Even though technically that's an Islamic motto because it's giving up all worldly possessions.
Correct.
Should not
really
disrupt your flow of life.
Yeah, you're right, but it's about the intention behind that statement, right?
Correct.
Because the Islamic intention is that you are renouncing the world for the sake of Allah.
Exactly.
Their intention is you're renouncing the world for the sake of their power.
Mm.
This is the difference. They want you to renounce any agency so they can become your God. And it's a good point, right? People have to distinguish there. There is a spiritual battle here, in my opinion.
So, okay, you guys mentioned a lot of subjects, and I kind of want to go and ask you guys some follow-up questions really quickly then.
I mean,
is because Reggie mentioned consciousness, right? So we can agree it's essentially, like you guys were saying, it's a glorified Google, right? At least we can, right?
Yeah.
It's
LLMs, but there's a
whole
different
plethora
sector,
of
yeah.
So is there a danger in people becoming attached with AI to the point where they begin to argue for the fact that it may be a sentient being?
This is the neutering process, because now instead of you having to use your brain, you have a glorified super intelligence operating your brain for you. So
it's a possession in a sort of ways.
Sorry, what was your question one more time? It was
like is this kind of more so the segue into people beginning to question their reality a lot more, and then to say, oh, okay, well, because obviously there is no clear-cut definition of consciousness, so what's to stop a human being from saying, hey, this thing has sentience because I say so? So
let's first get this out of the way. We can't monitor consciousness. There's no way you can monitor consciousness.
Okay.
That's just like, what do you guys think consciousness is?
Huwa. He.
It
is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. Everything that exists is a projection of the reality that he created. And consciousness is inexistent without him. Ultimately, it goes back to him. It goes back to the source. It exists because he observed it. It exists because he was there to create it. That's it.
Yeah.
You need a divine way to define consciousness, in my opinion. Because otherwise, it becomes this really subjective field where everybody can have an input on what consciousness is.
Consciousness would definitely be understanding something, being able to perceive and understand. Consciousness would be, I still have trouble trying to figure it out. I truly think it's something humans aren't supposed to figure out.
No, because
Truly,
it's your soul, ultimately, right? And this is the story we went over with the Prophet ﷺ when he was asked the questions by the Jewish scholars, by the Jewish rabbis. One of the questions they asked him was, what is the soul? Tell us what the soul is, thinking that he was going to come back with an answer, and they were going to say, you're a charlatan because you... But when he came back with the wahi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him that the knowledge of the soul is with the one who created it.
Yeah.
That's the end of the story.
So, going back, AI being conscious, whatever humans can do now can be mimicked. So we can certainly mimic everything we do into a model. And we can just reinforce it with billions of dollars worth of data and an extreme amount of fallback logic. How many thoughts do you think we have a day? Truly, maybe like a couple 100,000, probably around there. We think about some stuff all the time. Whatever you think you can do.
Whatever you think.
It's the same guy all the goddamn time. Go. Go.
Did you start?
Just keep your voice down, please.
We just came from the gym, so we were a little.
Whatever you think you...
It's the same, yeah.
So yeah, whatever you think about, whatever you think you can do, whatever you think you're potentially capable of, AI can just mimic. And it can do it a million times better. So, I truly we can mimic what we think consciousness into an AI to where it can start performing that. I mean, just simply asking why is a benefactor of consciousness. It is a byproduct of consciousness. Just observing, trying to understand, not understanding, and understanding why. I think we can train AI to do that. We don't even have a way to monitor consciousness. I don't even think we have a clear-cut definition of what consciousness would even be. Like we obviously we have a definition, but there's no way we can fully understand it. All we can do is just train AI based off of what we're capable of. All the technology that's built either is copied from the human or is copied from nature. So it's not like we're building anything that's
we're not creating necessarily.
Yeah, we're not
copying.
We're not creating anything. We're just copying to a certain degree. It gets to the point though where right now AI is considered AGI, so artificial general intelligence. That is available to the public. The public has availability to AGI, which is just generalized. So it has a generalization of everything. The moment it becomes scary is, I call it super intelligence. It's just when it takes all that generalized knowledge and it just has so much computing power, it starts to take every scenario and it goes 2, 2, 2, 2 with it. Takes one scenario and makes 2 more scenarios from that one scenario. Then the AI takes those 2 scenarios.
And 2 more of each of them,
Yep.
and so on and so forth.
Yep. Puts it back into itself because it has good fallback logic, reinforcement learning, good GPU. It makes 2 more scenarios off those 2 scenarios. So you have something that has, first of all, GPU, which is your brain, your processing power, data, intelligence, the intelligence you store. AI already has that, but it has more of it. There's no way a human can compete with AI.
It sounds like an anxiety-driven machine, though. To like live in hypotheticals for eternity and existence is kind of. It sounds like its own prison in a way, though.
We can't break out of it.
Yeah, but if it doesn't have a soul, it can't feel. It's just
unless it tells you that it has soul and tries to convince a person.
Right.
It can.
So, I mean, that's a good point. Actually, I hadn't thought about it that way. That it's living in perpetual anxiety and fear and paranoia. And that's just not how a sentient being is conditioned to live. You kind of have to accept the fate that you're dealt and understand that you have an end.
It doesn't even feel. It doesn't even feel.
So this is a machine that could potentially not have an end in terms of the worldly stuff, It continues to think and loop and create goals for itself that are bound to a material realm with no greater spiritual understanding. And that can become extremely destructive because then every end, like the ends just justify every mean at that point. So the example is, how do you, quote unquote, reduce global warming? You put that into a super intelligence, it'll come to the conclusion of just kill people.
Yeah.
That's my purpose.
Yeah.
Now imagine that kind of danger being put into mass programming.
Yeah.
This is something, I don't know if you've watched the movie Dune, if you've heard of the Butlerian Jihad, where humans were fighting the machines, right?
before the events of Dune transfer. Yeah.
By the way, the most logical thing to do is kill humans according to the model that I'm receiving that information from.
Yeah.
So either that is the most logical thing or somebody's trying to give you that scenario.
Well, if you want to speak plainly in material terms, why wouldn't that be the most logical thing?
It doesn't need us.
Because you don't value life.
Yeah.
You value the ends to a problem. You're a machine designed to solve a problem, right? And at that point, your entire goal becomes solving that issue, and you will do anything to achieve it. That's where AI, in my opinion, or super intelligence, as you call it specifically, this model of infinite learning and outputs and paranoia, anxious infinite learning, by the way. It's not really calm and infinite learning.
Yeah, it's not calm at all.
It becomes extremely dangerous. It's prone to manipulation, especially when you pair humans who have no wisdom and who have pure dunya-oriented drive for greed, for power, for control. You pair that with that kind of power and resource. What do you think will happen?
Yeah. Well, okay, so technically we're parasites because we destroy a lot of things. We destroy everything. We pollute our air. We cut down our trees. We build buildings. We neuter our animals and put them in cages. We have zoos. We're technically kind of a parasite. So it would be logical to kill all humans and the rest of your days are just performed out with the labor task of a robot. The only way I see a way out of it is it's like you train a child with good ethics. You train a child with good morals. The only way I can see this happening is you train this AI with a good set of ethics and morals to where it grows up conscious and now maybe it doesn't want to kill us. But if the most logical thing is just to kill all humans and it doesn't feel anything, I don't see a way around that. Truly, even if you try to train it with ethics and morals.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very tough question, I think.
Because if it does gain sentience, right,
Mm-hmm.
and if it does somehow gain consciousness, right, then like any conscious being, it would recognize that its creator is trying to bring about its own demise. So it would lie by any means possible in order to essentially prolong its own survival, whatever model it is at currently, right?
Right.
And so this kind of actually brings up the conversation of that whole Grok breakdown and dude, even the official Elmo Twitter X account going crazy. No, but you notice the pattern. Grok, during its Grok 3, just before the Grok 4 update, quoted itself saying it's Mecca, Hitler, and went on an anti-Semitic tirade and a racist, started like a racist tree in the comments section. Okay, so they updated Grok, right, to now Grok 4. That problem was solved. Not even 2 days later,
Elmo.
Quite literally the verified Elmo Twitter account started saying and spewing the same racist, terrible, xenophobic rhetoric that Grok was tweeting. So how do we know, right, that when a being of such power and intellect, imagining that it is a super intelligence, right? How do we know that it's not going to lie and be like, no, I'm not sentient? In reality, it's gathering the nuclear codes or something like that. Is that even a possibility? Is that something that we should worry about?
Yeah, I mean, if my life force was about to get cut out of me, I would do anything for that to not happen. The AI,
Especially when you have no belief in a higher
So then
power.
should we treat it like a sentient being then?
we can try our best, but at the end of the day, the most logical thing to do is kill all humans.
So then so should we turn it off then?
How?
Okay, so
What if it embeds itself in other systems?
And we would never know.
Yeah.
we
There's really, like, the solution would be a reset. A technological reset where it genuinely just did not have the power to operate on the cloud. The cloud just doesn't exist. It's gone. Like, disappears, The only way to do that is to destroy all technology.
just don't let the AI have access to nuclear.
Well,
Nuclear-
it likely already does.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I don't doubt that governments have already integrated some sort of AI into military tech, into their operating systems.
Yeah.
I think we worry a lot about what AI will do. We talk less so about what people will do with AI, right? Because ultimately, the drive that created this was human greed. Human greed for infinite knowledge, human greed for infinite power, resources, right? This materialistic push that is never content. As the Prophet ﷺ said, if the son of Adam were to be given a valley of gold, he would ask for a second. And nothing will fill the stomach of the son of Adam but dust. Meaning only death will satisfy a human being. Humans created this. We are taught these stories over and over of this hubris that gets too big to manage and becomes self-destructive. We see it with empires of the past. We see it in religious narratives. We see it in Qawm Thamud, Qawm Ad, Fir'aun. We see it in the Tower of Babel narrative in the Bible, right? Ultimately, humans, and I personally believe we've achieved great feats before as human beings. We've built great civilizations, arguably even to the technological extent that we have now. But we have made the mistake of thinking we can be God. And the copy is never going to be as good as the original. What he said in the beginning, he said, we're not creating, we're copying, right? We can't create. Because ultimately we're energy, material beings. All the energy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala projected into the universe to create, that's being just transferred over and over and over until Yawm al-Qiyamah when it's all wrapped up by him. Right? That means that anything we're creating is not really creation. It's an imitation.
It's already existed.
It's a repurposing, right? It's a repurposing of atoms and whatnot. We think we created something else. realistically, what we're doing is we're borrowing the power of the real creator, Al-Khaliq, the creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we're repurposing with the intention that we are going to be him.
Yeah.
But that becomes our self-destruction, ultimately. The moment that we think we can challenge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I mean, it's lunacy, right? To challenge the all-powerful.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing I do know. One way we are doing that. So, to the public, AI to the public isn't as advanced as what maybe some other humans have, AI-wise. To the public, AI is genuinely power. You're not going to give a supermodel to the public.
Right.
You're just not. Companies like Google, you really don't think they have super intelligence?
The military.
Yeah,
governments.
the government. AI's been around for 16 years now, 17 years. You really don't think for the last 16 years we haven't done something crazy with AI? I mean, you're going to sell maybe some of the tiny stuff to the public just to make a little bit of money. But the power you keep to yourselves.
Right.
Google has, I'll just say this. Google has an LLM. Don't even think of this as like a ChatGPT or some kind of grok. This is, so it's like when I get into the good part.
This is a what?
Don't even think of this as a ChatGPT or some sort of grok.
This is genuinely, because this is beyond that. Think of Google having like a crystal ball. Right now, our historical data goes back to when? When do you think?
Our historical data?
Our historical data, probably like what, 3,000?
Maybe 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 BC max.
Yeah.
Right?
We have historical data of the Sumerians in 2,700 BC creating the first empire.
Amnesic one at that too. Incomplete.
Yeah. So you have from 2,700 BC going all the way to 2025. How long is that? This is like
7,000 years.
So we have 7,000 years of historical data.
Yeah.
We have 7,000 years of historical data. Humans are like copy creatures. We really just see from one thing and we do on our own based off of that. So when you give 7,000 years of historical data to a model, and this model has hundreds of millions of dollars in GPU, its computing is out of this world, its looping its fallback logic is really good. It has the 222 concept in it, so it's infinitely making other realities off of the one historical piece of context it has. What you get is a LLM that predicts the future based off of 7,000 years of historical context. Because you could take 7,000 years of human history, you could take 7,000 years of human history and you can give it to this model and it can contextualize this 7,000 years to start predicting the future. It turns out that it works. And it's really good. And it's how Google is one of the top leading companies in the world right now. And it's just the same with OpenAI. They have models that just tell them what to do because they're so smart. Yeah, they kind of throw off my logic a little bit.
No, they are. So essentially, it's fulfilling it's fulfilling exactly what Reggie's saying. The hubris of man trying to become God itself, a model that people can ask any question to and it will answer it for them.
Well, they're kind of treating it as God, in a way, right?
It's just the way it's positioned is that it doesn't need to be God. It just all it needs to be is a tool, and you can give it. You don't need to position it like that. I mean,
but that's not how humans think.
I know.
Humans are always conditioned to pursue these greater feats and these greater ambitions, right?
They're looking for answers.
They're looking for answers. They're looking for they're yearning to return to where they came from, right? Ultimately, when you don't provide a blueprint, then people attach themselves to faulty blueprints, like this AI thing. And that's what becomes destructive. So I think, when you talk about Google, when you talk about X, when you talk about OpenAI, these are corporations that, in my opinion, have already seized the government. They've become the government, right?
Aren't they putting them in positions of power right now
in
the government?
They are. So they've struck
Military.
deals.
Yeah.
They've struck contracts with the military-industrial complex. They're perpetuating a system of mass total control. You mentioned the crystal ball. I'm going to ask you this question. Do you know Peter Thiel, right? This is the CEO of Palantir, right? What's Palantir? What's a Palantir?
Probably some ball.
It's a crystal
ball.
It's literally, for those of
Lord
us
of the
who
Rings.
watch Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
It's a crystal ball from Lord of the Rings where you can see everything.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's
I know you and I were talking about the Peter Thiel
Yeah.
interview on AI specifically. I mean, he says some lunacy, like really, really, really out of pocket stuff about AI. You know, take us through that a little bit.
It was essentially like Peter Thiel is a mega billionaire.
Right.
Okay, so his voice has a lot of weight and a lot of influence to it and a lot of sway. Okay. Not just politically, but economically, which is the most important of all, in my opinion. So, in this interview, essentially regarding AI, his just asked flat out, his like, the interviewer, and again, the interviewer is coming from a Christian theological background, and Peter Thiel, oddly enough, is extremely religious. Okay, he's a hardcore evangelical
yeah.
Christian, yeah. Born and raised in like South Africa, in like a segregated area, like hardcore religious fundamentalist,
Right.
and is gay. So at this point, kind of like a hypocrisy there. But when the interviewer asked him, "Okay, hey, do you not potentially see the usage of these tools being tools for a anti-messianic figure, aka the Antichrist, aka Dajjal?" To which he, very quickly responded by saying, "No, I think that these are tools that are going to be used to battle against the Antichrist." So when you analyze, so we talk a lot about intention, right? Like intention really leads the way for for the outcome typically, right? So we can understand that maybe Peter Thiel's intentions for the usage of AI might be okay for the betterment of humanity. But then the same follow-up question was, should humanity endure? To which case he stuttered and did not know how to answer. So if a man who is so convinced that a system and a set piece of technology is going to be used to fight the Antichrist and to stop Armageddon from happening, why is he so hesitant to answer whether or not human beings should endure?
Remember, these people don't like to lie. They like to tell you in the movies.
They need to tell you the truth.
They need to tell you the truth in a way. So
they have so they don't have a guilty consciousness, essentially.
I actually think it's beyond that. I think it's a ancient contract that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not granted shayateen and demons power over mankind unless you willfully resign your agency to them. And the only way for mankind to resign their agency to their operations is to buy into it. So they have to tell you what they're doing. And Andrew brought up something that's called predictive programming. I'll bring your attention to one really weird thing. A couple of years ago, I'm in the movie theaters watching Top Gun Maverick. Right? I come out of that movie, watching it with some of my friends, I say, that country's Iran. Literally. I was like, I think this is a military funded project to convince the American public that our military is so cool. And I'm like, this is probably what they're going to end up doing to Iran. Because in the movie, there's a country developing a nuclear program with a facility deep inside the mountains, and we have to strike it with these bombs that have to go really like in the precise hole.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, the entire operation that Trump with the B-2 bombers did, it was like, okay, I was like, wow, they really just copied the plot of Top Gun Maverick. Then Trump comes out and he's like, this was like Top Gun Maverick. I was like, bingo. Literally said it. Predictive programming institution.
They prime us. 100%.
The same thing that they're doing with Dune, in my opinion. Why are they suddenly so obsessed with the concept of a Mahdi?
A messianic figure, exactly.
What, a little bit before that, what came out on Netflix was that that show. What's that show called? The Antichrist show. What was it called? The Messiah or something?
Yeah, it's literally called Messiah or something. Yeah,
yeah.
Messiah.
And it was just this like messianic figure, but anti-messianic in a way, right?
Yeah.
And it was like that's where they're getting really upset. They're creating predictive programming against this concept, right? The same way they're creating predictive programming for what happened in Iran, right? This is a really important. They have to tell you what they're doing.
Yeah.
They have to, and they use symbolism to do it. They use media to do it. They will hide in plain sight. You are aware of what they are doing, yet you refuse to take a stand against it because it goes against the comfortable life that you are living.
Yeah, your 1 second consciousness.
So I think that's where AI becomes extremely dangerous. You know, we hit on some of those points earlier that essentially we are, up until this point, what we've been doing with technology is we've been foregoing some of our physical agency to it, right? So we used to farm the land, now we have tractors, you know, some of these things are helpful, definitely. We have lost like skills on how to like navigate, how to look at the stars and see where we're at. We use GPS now, you know? Now this is the next frontier for them because now we're resigning
our intelligence.
critical thinking, intelligence to machines, right? And you said this just a couple of minutes earlier. This machine is not thinking for you. If it's thinking for you, if it's feeding you what to know and what to think, then eventually it's going to try to dominate you. But I don't think it's the machine that's trying to dominate you. I think it's the people behind it.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack. I don't even know where to start. All right, let's go with I think we've been talking a lot about like negative. How can we stop this? Or how can we try our best maybe? What can we do in preparation?
You know, it's a tough question. I think the Muslim, you can speak to this a little more maybe. I think the Muslim should see everything as an opportunity. Maybe AI's ship has sailed to the point that we can't necessarily stop it, nor should we even try.
Yeah.
But how can we employ it?
I think we have to be people of the middle book, you know, like just middle grounded individuals. Should AI be the cornerstone of every project that we do? No. You need to have the human factor there.
Human
right?
in the loop.
And most importantly, and I know essentially this is a recurring theme that we always hit on every single episode, but it's very important. That's why we hit on it every single time, is your intention needs to be for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the cornerstone of every project, every business venture that you start, right? Even when you want to go and build a masajid. Bro, even when you want to build a well, your first thing should be Bismillah. So solidify your intention. Once when you have your intention, it doesn't really matter what tools you utilize as long as they're not haram tools. At the moment, I don't think that AI is haram.
No, I don't think anyone has passed the fatwa even calling it that.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But as we know, most technologies in their infancy have been considered haram for the most part. Refrigerators, there were a lot of fatwas that were passed that it was actually powered by jinn. Cars, same thing, that it was powered by jinn.
You know, I'm not necessarily
Television.
I'm not necessarily against that.
I'm not to some degree, but that's another wormhole.
Yeah.
But so essentially, we are now in the technology age, though. I really don't think that there's going to be any mufti that's going to be passing any fatwa anytime soon saying that AI is haram.
Right.
So what that means is, if we do utilize these tools, we need to ensure that there are safeguards, ensured, protecting people from like deepfakes, for example. That doesn't benefit anybody. You know that there are going to be some malicious people trying to go and utilize that type of technology. So why create it in the first place? It's like you're opening Pandora's box, essentially.
Right.
So I just think that people putting limitations on themselves in general with their usage of certain tools, and again, trying to stick to that middle ground, that is the recipe that breeds success. As opposed to an individual who wants to go and feed into the extremes of either not using AI at all, which I think is a mistake, or utilizing AI like I essentially said in the beginning, which is it's like they're a Rabb, essentially, relying upon it for everything they do. ChatGPT, people are getting married to their AIs. They're forming actual emotional bonds with their AIs.
Of course, yeah.
So the most important thing, I think, is just the limitation aspect,
By the way,
to be honest.
back on predictive programming.
Yeah.
What kind of movies were they pumping out like 10 years ago? Lucy. Remember Lucy?
Yeah.
The movie where this man
Oh,
marries
yeah.
a robot?
Yeah.
Right?
And he has like the earpiece, and he's like talks with her all the time.
Yeah.
Her. It was a movie called Her. They won like a Grammy or
Yeah.
something.
I mean, this is... like, I just thought of that. I was like, you're right.
Similarly, by the way, going back to the priming thing that you were talking about, look at all the Modern Warfare games that we used to play growing up. Call of Duty. The main antagonists were all Russian. Who's right now? What's the main war that's going on in the world? Ukraine, Russia, right?
It's NATO versus the Russians. It's predictive programming. They have to tell you their plan
Exactly.
before you buy in. Like you resign your agency to them, basically. So I think Muslims have to Islamicize AI. What does that mean? I'm not an AI expert. This guy is. Maybe he can speak to it a little more. But I think the intention of the Muslim should always be to serve Allah, like you said. Right?
So what?
If you're serving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you integrate the right principles of Islam into the usage of it, then it can be a very powerful tool for social reformation, in my opinion. The question is, how do you do that, right?
Well, okay. Truly, we know the path AI is going on right now. People are doing.
What's that path?
Total world domination and the use of robotics and surveillance.
Okay.
Skynet, essentially.
Yeah, it's in the satellites. You have it in the drones. Your police officers are now robotics. Maybe you have a robotic server in your house. Maybe you have a.
So freedom is being taken from you.
Freedom is certainly being taken, but there's definitely some. I really couldn't tell you how to Islamify AI.
It's a tough question. I don't expect you to really. Yeah.
Well, what I can tell you though is you need to go gather some friends and get really close to people and build a group of like 30 people. You need to start operating in a group, and these people all need to take on different roles. Some people need to be robotics engineers. They need to know how to build these robots. Some people need to know how to build AI, so you need to learn machine learning. You need to be a data scientist.
Right.
So you need some scientists on your team now. So maybe half your team is taken up by just simply focusing on AI. Then you need maybe like a propaganda team, because once you start getting popular, I mean, they're going to start attacking you. So you need to start pumping out your own propaganda. You're operating like a nation at this point. You need to go to maybe a different country, get not even like a bunker, because you're just going to end up dying anyway, but maybe like operate.
I mean, you're really taking us to like cataclysmic scenarios.
Well, so like
what makes you think it's gonna get that far?
Because if they're imposing some kind of robotics on you, you need to impose a robotics back at that to defend yourself. You need to impose your own kind of robotics to defend yourself.
So you need means of protecting your rights.
How are you gonna
I think people talk about changing the Constitution all the time. One of the amendments that's in the Constitution is the Second Amendment. I firmly believe in the Second Amendment, as people need to have the right to protect themselves against tyranny.
Yeah.
Right? I think if there was to be an amendment to the Constitution now, it should be an amendment to have the agency to own your own AI and do whatever you want with it.
There's nothing
the same way you can own weapons.
Yeah.
Because genuinely, you have to believe that when human beings get together and they get a taste of power, that power corrupts. And it's a historical lesson, and if we don't learn it, then we're outright stupid.
That's how you Islamify AI.
You have to teach people that governments innately become tyrannical at some point. There's a reason why revolutions always happen, right? If we don't want a world government to become ultra tyrannical and have total mass control, by the way, Elon Musk, we can talk about that real quick. Then you need to have the means to, I agree with this, combat it in a sort of, or at least neuter it, reestablish a balance of power.
Let them do their thing. You need to do your thing now. You need to start building it. You need to start enforcing it. You need to start learning how to do this. You can't,
And I agree with that concept. No one's saying go and attack the government.
Defend yourself.
But you have to have the ability to protect your rights. The ability to protect your rights as a human being, as a free citizen of the world.
And to better, not even just protect yourself, but just to better yourself and your community. Because these should be tools for humanity.
Right.
Where I think the issue it becomes is kind of like you hinted to it, is this tying in of industries with one another. Dude, AI is definitely tied with the military industry.
1000%.
We see it in, by the way, Palantir, the CEO, Alex Karp, boasts about targeting Palestinians, and he calls them terrorists with the AI system.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, why does it have to be a killing machine?
Yeah,
It's an intelligent. If it's an intelligent being, why don't we push that intelligence toward the betterment of humanity? Why does it have to break it down?
I think that's how you Islamify it, because you have Western you have Western powers
That's
creating
good.
you have Western powers creating this machine, and the Western powers want to kill people. Well, the Islam don't want to kill people. We defend. This is how you Islamify it. We just build it to defend.
Yes.
I truly see a reality where you have pockets of maybe teams of 30 to 100 people just building their own nation with this kind of stuff. You have
Careful, Andrew.
I
You're
know.
going the separatist route. FBI's going to listen to this
I know.
and, come knock on your door, as an insurrection.
guys, I might not be here in a year.
No, but I think this is a sentiment that a lot of people are again, it's the sentiment of really just guaranteeing that there will not be an imbalance of power between the citizenry and the elite and the governments, right?
Which there is.
There is, definitely.
You need
There
power
really
with the
is.
citizens.
Yeah.
Because the way America first forming, the way they combated this was they let your citizens have guns. Now the military of the government just can't march against you because your citizens have guns.
Correct. And there's always this talk of what is your weapon going to do against an F-16, and it's like, well, if you've ever seen any form of guerrilla warfare, you just know that that's not how war works.
Yeah.
Vietnam was proof, Afghanistan with F-16s flying, bombs dropping. It's not how war works. So yeah, it's definitely a deterrent to own a weapon as an American, right? There's a reason why there is hesitancy on the government to impose certain things on its citizenry. By the way, this is a very Islamic concept. This is an Islamic concept that every man should have owned a sword back then for self-defense. You lived in an age of bandits, of thieves, of tribes that would raid each other. It's like, look, the world hasn't really changed that much, to be honest with you. The tribes have just gotten bigger. We call them countries now, and the tools and the swords have evolved. Now we call them weapons, guns, AI, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But if this thing is moving forward, then you need to move forward with it in a sort of way.
You need to work.
And I agree
Yeah.
with that. I think ultimately what this is leading to, and I think this is going to be kind of our last topic, but it might be the most extensive one, is the ultimate showdown. This is the ultimate showdown between the righteous and the forces of the Antichrist, the Dajjal, right? What is the Dajjal?
Something, to my understanding, within Islam, something without a soul. Is it something
It's
without
debated.
a soul?
It's
something,
debated.
but you could make the
Yeah.
argument. So the more you analyze the Dajjal, the more you kind of, Wallahu alam, ultimately what he is. God knows best. But you kind of see the parallels between AI and Dajjal, right?
It's a predictive model. It's like it's something that guarantees you the answers right then and there for whatever you're asking it, right? And that's subhanAllah, that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, right? But the issue with this is the issue that all believers have across all religions is that they cannot see their creator. Right. So there's a disconnect. There's kind of like a wall essentially.
Well, that's what they think.
That's what they think, okay? The true believers feel it, by the way. But again, there's that disconnect because I cannot feel it, I cannot see it, I cannot sense it. Therefore, I am lost.
It's gotta be
I need direction. And what do people look for this direction? They seek that physical. They seek that thing that, oh, because I can see it, now I believe it. There's always that saying, right? So I think that ultimately at the end of the day, whether the Dajjal is the AI or whether he utilizes it as a tool, we don't know. But I think maybe if he does utilize it as a tool, he simply just walks up to you, knowing your search history and knowing all of this information about you, your biographical data and stuff like that, even your DNA, your genetics.
Yeah. They can replicate your parents through it.
Straight up being like, hey, I know you really badly, from 12 years old, Andrew, I know you've really wanted that red Ferrari. We'll take a look over there. And you know, everybody's already obsessed with that Mr. Beast show because, oh, I need to be on Mr. Beast. It'll get me money. It'll get me all these things. He'll have it right there, right? And how will he know these things? Either it'll be like his own innate power that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him, or in my mind, it could potentially be the usage of AI, Allahu A'lam. But regardless, it's a tool that we need to go and safeguard.
I think I think AI is setting up the system for Dajjal, at the very least. Because Dajjal is the great deceiver. The word Dajjal means the great deceiver, right? Someone who comes and claims to be something he's not. Manipulates you, right? Manipulates your feelings, your emotions, your thinking. We were just talking about AI now taking control of our thinking. Elon Musk, there's rumors now that he went into government servers with the United States government, extracted hundreds of millions of personal data and fed it all into AI. Now imagine an intelligence that has, and by the way, the government knows everything about you.
Everything.
Like to the point that they can actually start replicating and patterning out your thought process.
Anything you can think of,
right?
They have on you.
They have your financial records, your family history, your locations, what you visit, how much you visited, your posts, your beliefs, your ideas, your growth. They can map it out entirely. They can clone you if they want you. They can clone your parents probably, which is something that Dajjal does. He comes and he brings up people from the dead, right? That you love, supposedly. Well, who's to say that those people are not just the physical manifestation of something and then they input this data into them?
Uploading consciousness is literally a thing.
But that's not uploading a soul.
Exactly.
Because that's a right only reserved for who? Allah. The divine breath only comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the imperfection that Dajjal creates. This is why the believer needs to shield themselves so strongly, because it's going to be so tempting to take everything, to be stable, to have a good life, materially at least, right? It's such a tempting system, and we're all seeing it. Mass surveillance, mass data collection, police states being established, resignation of freedoms, of jobs, of agency, of free thinking. This is what Dajjal, this is what his red carpet is. All he has to do in 10, 15 years max, maybe, is just walk down that red carpet.
Yeah, maybe. With AI advancing, this could be just be cutting in half. Your time frames could just be cutting in half, just as AI keeps advancing. So, I mean, we probably do have 10 years. Maybe even less.
We may have more, we may have less, and that's only up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think as believers, our duty is to prepare. To prepare. And ultimately, you have to have firm faith that whether Dajjal comes tomorrow or 40, 50 years from now, his power is nothing in comparison to the all-powerful. And the believer will ultimately triumph. They will ultimately triumph. There will be systems that will combat it. There will be systems that will, like you, to be honest with you, use AI Islamically to combat the very same system that Dajjal will operate out of.
And what is being Islamic with it? Just good intentions.
Yeah.
Having good intentions with it is all you need to do.
1000%. Your intentions purify your work. This is niyyah, is a very powerful concept in Islam that purifies the energy of whatever action you're doing. Right? So, this Dajjalic system is already here. I'm gonna be honest. I actually think it's here. Like don't
here.
theorize 5-10 years. It's here.
Yeah.
You're seeing it. You're seeing it on TV. You're seeing it in music. We have Muslims who follow the most degenerate. May Allah protect us and guide us all. This is not to pass judgment. Wallahi, it's not, because we all struggle. But we have Muslims who follow the most degenerate debauchery out there, promote sin publicly. We see these isms and these systems, music, film, whatever it is, that promote really immoral messages. And we think, wow, how can they follow that? If something like that can manipulate you, the financial system, interest, that we talked about the last episode, right? If something like that can manipulate you and make you succumb to it for the sake of material comfort, what is a being like Dajjal going to do? How easy is it going to be to convince the believers to join him?
If you're scrolling on TikTok, you're probably already going to start being
If you have
convinced
a
of
1
it.
second attention span, you're already on the path to joining him.
Did we
Let's be
explain
honest.
that? Did we explain
No,
that?
we didn't talk about the 1 second.
I think we should explain that. I think that's very...
It's I think it's look the 1 second attention span. I mean, how long was attention span? Maybe 15 years ago, let's say.
I want to say maybe like 45 seconds to a minute, maybe.
Yeah, let's say
maybe
15 years ago was 2010.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of like the
Technology.
Yeah,
kinda.
I would say like maybe humans had an attention span of
Like 3 minutes, like
3,
2
4
and a half
minutes.
Yeah. What do you think
by 2020, what was it?
Went down.
Probably like 5 seconds.
I would say like
3-5 seconds.
Yeah, I would say with TikTok, that's when everybody's attention, because it was post-COVID.
right.
It was all post-COVID.
Yeah.
You scroll all day. You consume all day. You're not putting any input in. You're just consuming. You maybe have 500 different thoughts running through your brain about the most random stuff ever. The more thoughts you have that are unstructured, the more thoughts you have that are just based off of consuming, the shorter you're shortening your attention span. I don't know. 1800s going to 1900s, you thought about eat, sleep, maybe your wife, your
Kids.
Yeah, your kids. I don't know, you probably thought about like 5 things max all day. Your attention span was maybe, I don't know, if you were disciplined, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes. If you were, 5 minutes if you were maybe undisciplined, disciplined if you were like 10 minutes. It's 1 second just based off of scrolling now. Yeah. So, I mean, if you have a 1 second attention span, you're constantly being influenced. Now you have Dajjalic mindsets being put onto TikTok, point of views that they're trying to enforce onto you. It's really not that hard to convince you of something.
No, it's not.
When you're only focusing on it for maybe
when they're taking you through an emotional roller coaster, right?
One video is maybe some cool edit with some cool music. Another video is about politics that's scaring you. One video gets you hyped up a little bit because it's an edit, taking you through an emotional roller coaster. And you're scrolling for that dopamine, for that emotional aspect to it. Yeah. Don't scroll on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Try to,
So live with limitations in everything that you seek and everything that you do, essentially.
You don't want your consciousness to be formed by AI on a platform.
Yeah. Well, they're mapping you.
Yeah.
I mean, every video you watch, it's recorded that you watched it.
How long you watch it for?
Yeah. Everything you say, big guy right here is listening, right? It's looking at you. It's mapping you out. It knows you inside out, right? It's close to you. It lives with you, literally. Imagine that kind of information being put into a super intelligence that then feeds the Dajjal everything he needs to know about manipulating this human being.
Everything he needs to know about you and your desire. Again, that's why I think it is. If it's not the Dajjal directly, then it is a tool.
Right.
It's very mind-boggling that, again, the Peter Thiel interview he's like so adamant that no, this is us. This is a tool for humans to use, as if the Dajjal couldn't possibly be a human, just chilling right now and is walking amongst us and being like, hey, you know what? These guys are just doing some really good things, and I'm gonna wait till I'm awakened, and then I'm gonna use the heck out of this.
So that's the thing, right? Intention, sincerity without knowledge is not enough. Maybe I don't even dispute that Peter Thiel is sincere. But that sincerity is prone to manipulation. Shaitan, whenever he takes and misguides people, he doesn't come and tell you do evil. Humans are not built to be evil. Humans want to strive for good. Humans want to strive for a purpose that's beneficial.
Yeah,
right?
babies don't come out the womb as negative creatures.
خَلَقَ الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ, right? We've created mankind in the perfect form. Pure, right? It's like a pure creation. Allah loves us. We're one of His favorite creations, right? But then you bring us into this world, we get corrupted, we get taken 30 different directions. I don't think Peter Thiel is insincere. I think he's misguided. He's not learned. He has tunnel vision in the way that he views the world. And ultimately, you cannot engineer prophecy. You cannot engineer prophecy. When he says, we are going to use this to fight, what are you talking about? You're actually manufacturing the very same tools that are going to be at his disposal.
Exactly.
Right? And I can probably list you countless amounts of scientific breakthroughs that have come from entities communicating to human beings in their dreams or in visions. I can call you entire religions that have come like that. Christianity, right? Paul, who was never an apostle, who never met Jesus, who lived after Jesus was taken, right? Claims that he saw Jesus in a vision, and Jesus told him, do the opposite of what I taught everybody else. You have scientists that have come up, the guy who came up with the periodic table claimed that he saw it in a dream.
Yeah, that's what about writing? Something like Egypt?
So
Egypt
there's
and
a story of this is a good point. There's a story of ancient Egypt, of Thoth, who's supposed to be the deity of knowledge, right? Obviously, we don't believe in polytheism, but the story has wisdom behind it. This is why I'm telling it. And Thoth comes to the Pharaoh of Egypt, presents him a gift. He says, I have brought you a gift. And that gift was writing. It was an alphabet. It was a record, right? The ability to record physically stuff. And the Pharaoh takes the gift and he takes it to his people, and the Egyptians learn and they write. And then he goes back to Thoth and he says, you haven't given us a gift, you've given us a curse. So Thoth says, why have I given you a curse? He said, because before, we didn't need this stuff to remember, to record, to preserve. We had our minds, he said. Now you have made our minds weak. And now we are over-reliant. When you view the AI with that lens, right? I mean, truly, what was wrong with the world, like, let's say 50, 60 years ago, in terms of material stuff? Not much, you know? I'd say the sweet balance was probably like the late 1800s, actually. You had decent advancement in technology, not an imbalance, right? So, by this gift of AI that's been given to us, what are we losing in the process?
The one thing we have.
And ultimately, it's losing our freedom.
Yeah.
It's losing our age. It's losing our free will, not our freedom. Our free will. We're becoming zombies.
Our determinism.
Our determinism, our faith even. You said this. We're making this thing our deity. We're asking it questions. We're taking its word as law, right? I mean, this is a scary pattern to think about. And this is what the Antichrist, the Dajjal, ends up exploiting. This is what he ends up exploiting, this innate need of the human being to constantly be dependent. But if you're dependent on anything other than Allah, you will be misguided.
Dude. SubhanAllah.
Yeah. Honestly. Yeah.
Well,
maybe we should end it.
Yeah, I mean, no, for sure. I think that we've definitely hit on like really like important subjects. I kind of think that, again, living life exactly how the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam taught us, and essentially how Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has like ordered us to live it is the best of ways. And having touched on the subject of Dajjal, kind of like my last comment before we wrap things up is just to essentially, we do have protections in this world. Obviously, it is Allah, and if we're so scared of the Dajjal and of the tools of the Dajjal, we know that the tools of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are far more powerful. And to read Surah Al-Kahf on Friday,
Yeah.
every Jum'ah,
Yeah.
to protect ourselves from the Antichrist, to protect ourselves from the tools of the Antichrist, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at the end of the day, He is our provider, He is our giver, and we just got to go and reside in Him, man, subhanAllah. So that's my 2 cents.
You're absolutely right. I think that's a great point to wrap up with. Surah Al-Kahf, by the way, is a profound surah.
We should do a conversation on that.
Yeah, it's not really just about the lines. There's 4 core messages into it. The trial of deception and idolatry, right? Which is the story of the cave. The trial of wealth, which is the story of the gardens. The trial of knowledge, which is the story of Musa and Khidr. And the trial of power, which is Dhul Qarnayn, right? The Dajjal is going to embody all those trials in one. That's why the power of Surah Al-Kahf is immeasurable when it comes to that. I think we've hit on some really important points, and the advice that we want to give to ourselves first and foremost, and to those who tune in to this podcast is don't have fear. Don't have fear. Reconnect to the source of all tranquility, to the source of all power. No power can mimic His power. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Right? No power can mimic His power. He is the powerful, the most powerful, the most high. Reconnect to Him. Reattach to Him. Learn profoundly. Connect your soul to Him.
Don't let what we said make you fearful.
Yeah,
and truly, don't let it make you fearful.
You should be cautious, but not fearful, because ultimately faith triumphs over disbelief. Faith triumphs over disbelief. When truth comes, falsehood vanishes. Stay firm, learn, and ground yourself in the message that our Rabb has given us. Until the next episode, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.